Hello and welcome to the 261 Fearless Empowerment Talk. I'm Edith Tushman and I'm very happy and pleased to host you today and bring you the 261 Empowerment Talk to your homes. 261 Fearless is a global organization and we are aiming to empower women through running and also through education. And our global platforms we use to provide education and also inspiring talks with ladies from all over the world, influential women, experienced women in different fields like business, sports, and health. These women share their journey, their success, also their experiences, bad and good, and we can learn from them. We can become inspired and motivated to become more empowered and more fearless. So I'm very delighted to introduce you to our guests. So next to me, Flavia Bittencourt.
Yeah.
She is the general manager of Adidas Brazil. Prior to this, she held various leadership roles in multi-million-dollar businesses in Brazil in the fields of technology, food, and beauty.
Yes.
And she's a mother of 4 young children. So thanks being here with us. And I'm very pleased to introduce you to Esther Paranha. She is a passionate runner and an engineering student. She's on her way to become one of the first 10 women of color to graduate in engineering at the University of Sao Paulo. To feel safer while running and also to get more women into running, she created and gathered together with friends, which became a diverse and colorful women's running group called Elas, voam. So in English, they who fly, and they are part of the Adidas runners here in Sao Paulo. So welcome.
Thank you.
So 2 strong and fearless women who live their dreams and spread the seeds of a new generation of women here in Brazil. And Flavia, thank you very much for hosting this talk today at the headquarters of Adidas Brazil. And I would like to ask my first questions toward you. So you have proven that you're successful in what you're doing in leading organizations, leading teams. Now, since you've been in this new position as the general manager of Adidas Brazil now for 6 months, what does this mean to you?
Well, I love to be here. It's great when you can join a brand that you love, sports that is actually something that I'm into, and a career, and being the GM and being able to change the business in Brazil. So yeah, I'm very happy to be here.
And when you look at your position, what are your aims? What do you want to create within Adidas?
So it's all about what you leave, the story that you can tell when you leave the company one day. So it's about how can we go back to win here? How can we grow? How can we be the leader in Brazil? I think that's the dream. And for me, success is how close can I get us into that dream? So it's about how you make people inspired and to go towards that goal.
Running a business is a lot about numbers and figures, but as a GM, you also, I assume, take over responsibility beyond that. What would you call this responsibility of your new role within Adidas?
I would say it's much more about leadership than about numbers. It's about how can you make sure that everyone is after the same goal, how they have the same priorities, and how we put the consumer in the center of everything we do. So we do things for him. If we are doing things that it's not about our consumer, probably we're not in the right path. So it's how can I take the team into this journey of being the best sport brand in the country?
Wow, that's quite a challenge. But I'm pretty sure, I mean, you have already proven that you're able to do that in your previous roles. But when you look back now on your career so far, when you were a kid, have you dreamt about that?
Oh, not at all. When I was a kid, I wanted to be a doctor in a yard. So actually my dream was saving lives with a lot of pressure around me. But then I figured out that didn't make enough money, and you had to study many, many years. So I changed it, and I turned to be a chemical engineer. So it was quite a different path that took me into the position that I am in. I changed my full career after that was about marketing. And marketing was, again, the focus on the consumer. So how can we add value? How can we figure out what is the best offer that we can get for him? How can we change his life? So I think that's a little bit about the story that took me into the spot that I'm right now.
Wow, quite a journey.
Yes.
And knowing that you also have a background in engineering, this builds the bridge to you, Esther. So being an engineering student, what sparked you to get into this field? Why did you want to study engineering?
Well, first, I believe that engineering was about creating things. So I wanted to do this. I wanted to make a change. I wanted to do something that will make a difference. And then, after I started, what sparkled me today is to make a difference. Not exactly, not always making something new, but sometimes making something that already happens to be different, to change, to impact lives, and engineering to do something that people say, okay, this make my life better in some ways. And I think that sparkles me. I think when I see everything that I study every day, I try to look this kind of way to make me keep going on the field.
Wow, well, this is quite a mature attitude. So I'm just curious, who brought you to this point? Did you have a role model, or did somebody mentor you to get to this attitude?
Well, when I was younger, I didn't have a mentor, but something that I like to see nowadays, and that I believe that brought me to this, it was looking at the women around me, looking at everybody that you have around you has something different, something that you can learn from. And I used to look for this. So I was like, okay, this woman, she's strong, she looks for her career, and she's a leader, so I want to be this way. And okay, this woman, she's so creative and has different ideas, and I want this a little bit. So it was like a little bit from every person that I have met during my journey to this. I didn't have a mentor at the time, but nowadays I think I look for the daily persons that I see too. It's something that inspires me a lot.
Is there one specific lady you would like to pick who had the biggest impact on your life?
I think that will sound different, but I think Catherine Switzer was somebody that even before I started running, she was a model for me, because she did something when nobody was doing that. She wasn't afraid. She had trouble doing that, and she ended it. And this is something that for me is very important, because sometimes we try something and in the middle we have some difficulties and we say, okay, I don't think I can do that. And I think this never giving up thing is something that I learned from her, even when when I wasn't running yet. And she's actually a really model for me. It's a person that I love to meet last year, and it was really inspiring to meet her last year. It was lovely.
Awesome. And what about you, Flavia? Have you had a person in your life that helped you to overcome barriers, who inspired you?
No, actually, the inspiration that I had was my dad. So my dad was an admirer, so in the Navy, leading lots of people. And I think all the values that I have came from him. But Actually, I work it always in very man environment. So I did engineer, it's full of men. Then I worked in a bank, full of men. Telecom, full of men. Private equity, full of men. So I had to be, I think, the inspirational role for some people, to lead by the example, to show that yes, you can have a career and have kids and still be very successful in your career. You don't need to choose. So I put myself in a kind of position that I would love to inspire, especially young women when they come into the market, because I didn't have anyone to inspire me as a woman role. So yes, I was inspired by lots of leaders, of bosses that I got to know that helped me through my journey, but there wasn't actually a very strong female that took me into this position. So I would love to do that for some people.
So when you look on women here in Brazil, what kind of characters would you like to see out there so that they become role models like you are? What do you think is very important, especially in your home country?
I think they need to dare more. So you don't need to have barriers. You can't. Most of the barriers that I see for women is the ones that they put in front of them. So it's like, no, I can't do that, otherwise I feel guilty because I'm not going to be a good mom, or no, because my husband is complaining at home, or no, no woman never achieved this position. It's the first time we have a female leading Adidas in Brazil. So if I had that as an example, I would not even come to the job, to the interviews. So it's about, no, you have no limits. You can do whatever you want. And it's all about picking the right partner, because you need a partner to go through this, especially if you have kids, you need to both deal with it. But it's about to live your dream. Go on. Don't let anyone say to you that you will need to make choices, because it's not about making choices.
Oh, awesome. I mean, this leads me also to my next question, because women have been told so many times, you're not able to do that, you're not good enough. Why do you want to work if you could be a mom at home? So Esther, perhaps first I want to ask this question towards you. I assume also in the field of engineering you've heard this quite sometimes. What do you tell those people?
Well, I believe that it's important to set your goals exactly at the place that you see that your limits are, because there is where you want to go. Because if you will say, okay, I'll go this place, I'll go this way. So I think it's important to know what people say you can do, so that you can exactly know what you are going to do. So I believe that some people say, okay, you can't study and run together. It's not possible. When I started at engineering, people told me that, okay, if you start doing sports, you are not going to graduate. It'd be too much. And I said, okay, that's exactly what I'm going to do. Thanks for the advice. I love it. And said, okay, you are running, and so I think it'll be hard for you as a woman to get performance. I say, okay, great, that's my new goal. So that's where I'm going. So normally when people tell me something that they say, okay, you can't do that, I say, oh, interesting, that is my new goal. That's exactly where I want to go. And I think that's normally what I say to them. I say, they tell me, okay, this is your limit. And I say, okay, this will be my next accomplishment. And it's something that I normally tell them, because it's something that inspires me and will tell them it will help me and also help these people to change their mindset and change what they are thinking about this.
Have you justify or give the statements quite often?
Sometimes, yes, sometimes. At sports, I think people still believe that women sometimes are limited, and you always have to keep telling them that you're not, and you have to prove that. And first you have to prove it for yourself. As Flavia said, many times you need to be your own model. Sometimes you don't have somebody that will be there pushing you and say, okay, you can do that. Sometimes you have to tell yourself first that you can do that. And after you prove that, then people see, and you'll be able to tell them. So yes, at sports I have told this many things, and also at engineering, at studying, and being a black woman, I think sometimes makes things in a different perspective. So they say, okay, I have never seen somebody like you here, so do you really believe you can do this? And I said, yes, I'm pretty sure I can do this. And I have heard many times, but I had always answered it.
Awesome.
all of them.
Wow, very inspiring. And you, when you are entering a room full of men, how do you prove?
You know, what I normally say is, if they don't look to me as a woman, then I already achieved what I want. Because it doesn't matter if I'm a woman or if I'm a man. It matters that I'm capable, and that's why I'm there. So I just don't want them to look into my gender. They should look into my capability to be there and to perform and to lead. So I think that's my main goal. But of course, it's very funny because sometimes you come into and there's full of men and they're looking to you like, really? Is she the leader? But then I think after 30 minutes, everyone is feeling comfortable and they already understand why I'm standing there. But it was a journey to get here, of course. There are many times that you think it's not going to work. There are many times that you think you need to prove yourself much more than others. There was a time in my life I was a manager and I was responsible for 80% of the revenue of this company. And the guys that were responsible for, 7-8%, they were all men and they were all directors. And I asked my boss, why are they directors if I'm running 80% of the business? And he said, because you're a woman, you're beautiful, and you're young. So you will need to prove yourself much more than them.
And how did you get over that?
I worked more and more. So there was not time that I could say, oh, but that's not fair. This was not the kind of conversation that you could have by that time. So it was, okay, is that what you need? I'll do it more. I'll work more. I'll prove myself more. And then I got a chance. But it's about really dealing with it as it comes. And it's about not giving up. It's okay. Is that what it takes? I'll get there. So then after some time, as you prove the results, there's nothing they can say. They can only promote you. And then you go on. And that's how you be the role model for the ones that are coming after you. So.
But has there been a point in your life where you were close to give up?
There was a point in my life, but it had much more to do with my personal life. So I had divorced my first husband, and my kids were 8 and 10. And you know, when you're divorced, kids get a little bit lost, and they begin having a horrible behavior. They were not going to school, the grades were awful, and I was working a lot. So I came home and I said to them, look, I love my job. It really turns me on. But I love you guys much more than I love my job. So if I need to choose, I will choose you. So if you still feel that you need me and you need me to be home with you, I'm okay. I can quit and I can stop working for 1-2 years to make sure that you guys are on the right path. And both of them looked to me like really big eyes and they said, no, we don't want that. We know that your work makes you happy. So we want you to be happy. So no, we will do our job. And after that, they began behaving and getting great grades and doing everything well by themselves. And it's a fun story because at the end of that year, I called them and I said, guys, today we're going out for dinner and we're going to a mall and you can pick one gift in the mall. It doesn't matter the price, but you can choose one thing that you really want and I'll buy. Doesn't matter the price. And they said, why that? Because we're celebrating because I got my bonus. And this bonus is not my bonus, it's our bonus. Because I would never be able to get it if it wasn't by the work that you've done at home, at your school and everything like that. So we had a celebration and my son, he picked a very cheap gift. And I said, really? Did you understand the rule? It's only today, whatever price you want. And he said, no, this is what I want. So we came home, his father called and he said, Dad, I bought the best gift ever in my life today. And he said, why was it? What was it? And he said, oh, it's only this toy, but I bought it with my bonus.
Oh,
So they really understood it. And the only problem was because after that day, they always asked, Mom, are you doing well at work? Are we going to have bonus?
so quite a pressure.
But actually, they got involved. They got it. So it worked.
Not only pressure on the business end, also on the family end.
Yes, exactly.
Well, I'm very curious, being a successful businesswoman in Brazil, but also a successful mom. Is this a well-established thinking in your society, or what are the barriers on being successful, putting a lot of effort in your business, in your work, and also being a loving mom?
So in Brazil, only 13% of the CEOs are women.
Oh, wow.
And that almost doubled in the past 3-4 years, because when I became a CEO, there were less than 5% of the CEOs were women in the country. So it's not something normal to see. And I had experience one day having dinner with some parents of the school where my kids study. One mom asked me, but why do you work? Do you really need the money? Why don't you stay home with your kids? Don't you think you're not showing enough love or support for them? Who's doing that? Is your maid doing that? So I was like, okay. And I said, first, I work because I love it. I really enjoy what I do. And I think the kids realize that it makes me happy. And I think that's a good role model for them as well, that they will enjoy the work. They don't need to work only because of the money, but because they feel powerful, because it's something that gives them the power to succeed and to do things and to deliver. So I work because I love it, and I think I can do both things. So I take my kids to school in the morning. I try to come back home in a time that we can have dinner together, that I can put them in bed. So you always need to put some limits also in your work, because if you let it go, you can stay until 10 p.m. every single day. So you need to put a pause and say, now it's a time for the family. You need to have the partner that, because sometimes you will not be able to go to the doctor, or you won't be able to go to the parent-teacher conference, and someone needs to be there. So you need to take turns. But if it's something that is really important for you to do both, for sure you're able to do it. But people still look into me and say, there are two kind of people. There are the people that look into you and say, well, I'm sure she's failing in one of the sides.
Oh.
And there are the people that say, wow, it's amazing. How can you deal with everything? I know your kids. I know how good you are in your business. I want to be exactly like you. So I prefer to look to the side of the women and just try to inspire them a little bit.
Wow, awesome. So is this inspiring for you too, this perspective to take over more roles, to overcome those social barriers?
Oh, I'm really loving to meet you. I think you're a really inspiring woman. It's amazing to see, and even know that you are engineering too.
Yes, that was a coincidence.
Oh, I have much to talk about. I think what she said, it's absolutely true. People see women normally that they decide what they want. The women who fight for what they want, there are always these two sides. There will always be people judging you and telling you, okay, I think you are going too far, stop there, you're not gonna be able to do this. And there will always be people saying, okay, I believe in you, but sometimes believe like, okay, I believe in you, but you have to do this on your own. And I think you have to choose which side for you to look. Sometimes, obviously, you'll be looking at the ones that are not inspiring you, and then you have to tell yourself, no, I need to look to the other side, as Flavia said, and look for these models, look for people who can inspire you to make a change. And I think it's really great to see this and see that it's you don't have to choose, you don't have to negotiate who you are. You can be truly yourself and say, okay, if myself is a mom and a CEO, I can be that. I don't need to negotiate. It's something amazing. to see live here.
And it's also about having time for yourself. So it can't be only kids, your husband, and work. You need to find time to make your hair. You need to have time to do your sports, to run in the morning, to play tennis on the weekend. You need time also for yourself. So it's a matter of balance. How can you put everything and make sure that they're balanced? Sometimes one will go a little bit down and then you go and fix it and try to keep it balanced.
Yeah. Yeah, talking about being balanced, I want to talk now about something that I think all three of us share with passion, and that's running. So, Esther, you have been in sports for quite a while.
Yeah, a little bit.
And you were part of the college running team, and then you came up with this idea, getting women together in a running group. Perhaps you want to tell us a little bit about that.
Well, here in Brazil we have this running cruise that we join people to run together, and it's basically this: we join people and sports, and we see what we can take from the best of both. So sports can give us much things. They can give us strength. They can give us many physical changes. Can make you feel stronger, can make you feel empowered. And people, they can give you a lot too. They can give you inspiration, they can give you friendship. And join us, we have the running crews here that normally they are running crews, but frequently you can be listening about them like families. In Sao Paulo, they are always saying, okay, my family is this crew, my family is this other one. And especially here we have Adidas runners, which is a big community, and it's not only in Sao Paulo, it's all over the globe. And so it's nice to feel that here in Sao Paulo we have people that they are just like you. They are having the same problems, they are having the same fears, and you can join them and overcome these fears together and overcome your sports barriers together. But also you can feel like you are in a global community. You can meet people from all over the world that they run to, they have problems to, they have victories too, and you share with them your victories, and you see how they improve and say, okay, I want to do that too. I want to do something here, and then see, okay, what you're doing here, you're doing this different thing. I wanna run this too, and it's nice to have this micro synergy and global synergy too at the running crews, and I really love to be part of them. As I said, they are like family here, and people join them with strength because they meet people for the rest of their lives, and they join sports, and sports becomes part of who they are too, through this community and everything. And I love Elas, voam. The group have empowered many women and had changed many lives from the way they see themselves, and the way they see sports too. They, in the both sides, it have changed, and well, it's amazing.
Awesome. So you told me that when you started at college doing athletics, you were, very exotic as a woman.
Yes.
Can you give us a little bit of an insight of the running scene in Brazil? So are there much more men still in the running crews, or how does it look like?
I think we still have much more, it's a male-dominated field still, but it's changing, and I love to see the change, and I love to be living this change. The movement of telling women that can do sports, that they can be strong in the sports field, has started a few years ago, and it's getting stronger every day. It's getting bigger every day, and nowadays we have many runnings that are only for women. We can see many women running on the streets, and it was something that you couldn't imagine some years ago. See a woman running alone or running in a group together, it was something that you cannot imagine. And nowadays you see that, and it's amazing to see this change and see that it's getting even more and more people. I believe that in the future, in a close future, we'll see more women than men running. And I think in the Brazilian scenario, women, they are sometimes afraid of sports. They don't know much about it sometimes because they didn't learn about this when they were younger. So when they are younger, they are told, like Flavia said, okay, you can only do this. If you're gonna be an engineer, you can only do this. If you need to be a mom or other things, they didn't heard much about sports sometimes. So they think, okay, this is a male thing. Okay, I can only do this if for aesthetics. I can't do this for myself. It's something that is changing. Women are seeing sports as something for them, as something they can own and do this for themselves, not for others, not because sometimes somebody told them to do this. And I believe this is kind of the Brazilian scenario, and women are getting more united to do this, and this unit, it's the most important thing. It's what makes this movement grow, I believe.
Oh, wow. Thanks for the insight. So, running becomes a movement to unite women. So, what brought you into running, Flavia? Was it the uniting thing, or?
Yes and no. So I began running because of my husband when he was not my husband. So I can tell you that it actually sports changed lives. It changed mine in many ways. So we were working together, and he was a triathlete. He's an Ironman. So he decided that inside the work environment, we needed to have a community of people doing sports together that will bring us closer as a team. So he began asking people, oh, let's run together. And so I was the boss of a big team of people that began running with him. And he said, well, you should give the example. You should come and run with us. And I said, I don't know anything about running. And I go to the gym and that's it. And he said, no, let's begin. I'll give you some insights. I'll give you some tips. I'll give you some work to do so you can begin running with us. And that's how it began. And we began running together. And then after some years, we got married and had kids. And I turned myself into a runner. So yes, he was the one that began bringing that to me. And in the beginning, it was about running was the community of people that work together. So it actually, yes, it helped. It put us to bond together. We began to be not only colleagues at work, but friends that also run together and have good time together and share goals. So it actually changed the work environment that we were in. But it also changed me because it's a time that I have for myself. So when I go out for a run, and that's why I prefer to run more long distances, because I have then 1 hour to think about me and myself, my work, everything. It's a time that you're there with yourself. So what I liked about running, because when I thought about running when I was younger, it was, okay, you run 100 meters, it's about who's getting to be the first. And I was not a fast runner, so that was not a sport for me. And then I understood it was not about that. It was about having some time for you, and it was also about winning against yourself, finding the best you. So it was about how can I run faster, how can I do better, how can I run and not feel so tired after it. So it's the small wins that you get every day, because it's not about getting in the first place. It's about you improving each time you go out for a run. And that's what passioned me about it.
Wow, that's a wonderful philosophy to think about when you start running or when you're a runner. What I hear often from moms, as an excuse to not lace up her running shoes is, oh, I still have to do this at home, I still have to take my kids somewhere, da da da, all those excuses. You're able to get this under all those responsibilities you have in your lives. How do you do that? Can you tell us the secret?
You need to make more hours. So I wake up at 5:30, so I'm sure that I can go for a run and then take a bath and come to work. So yes, you need to sleep less hours. You need to have some things that you gave up. I don't watch television, for example. I just cut the television out of my life because I didn't have enough time. So it's about what are the things that are more important for you and make sure you have the right time for it. And we take turns at home. So my husband, normally on a Saturday, he says, I'm going for a bike, but I'll come back at 10 and then you can go for the run, and someone always stays with the kids. So we try to help each other also because we know that it's good for him and it's good for me. But again, the more stressed I get at work, the more things I need to do at work, more I need to run. Because that's how I find my balance. So it's also not an excuse, oh, I can't run because I'm working too much. It should be exactly the opposite. Because I'm working too much, I need to run more. So once you begin understanding that, you begin finding the right time to work. She was telling about this female community of women helping each other to go to run. And that is also something that is very important. So I have seen some friends of mine that never would put a tennis shoe to go running. And I begin saying, okay, let's go only for 1 kilometer, only for 15 minutes. And that's how you begin, because it's about taking her out of the sofa. So get out of the sofa, one Saturday morning, let's do this, and then next week we do again. And then she begins enjoying it, because no one likes it every single day. There are days that you say, no, it's not for me today, I'm too tired, I have too many things to do. And you begin, if you want to, find everyday excuse not to do it. But then you need to think about the good things it brings to you and how you feel good after it. And that's how you can get there.
Oh, awesome. So is this your advice to all those women out there, not only in Brazil, but also globally?
Totally. Just begin doing it. Leave the sofa 1 day, 2 days, 3 days. You will see after 1 week you're really enjoying it.
Oh. I mean, there is still, I want to point out one barrier. Perhaps it's a rumor, but you both can tell me. It's the case of the safety and security for women, especially in big cities like Sao Paulo. How is the situation currently in your neighborhood, in your city? How would you describe that, and what are you doing that this is becoming, or how can it become a safer place for women to be active?
Actually, we have this security problem in Brazil and in other big cities. But I think that we can always look for alternatives. São Paulo, we have lots of parks. We have Ibirapuera, we have Parque do Povo, we have many other places that you can go. That you have a crowd, that you have many other people there for you to be safer. And we always have this running communities. You can always meet somebody. As Flavia said, you can join a group of friends at work. You can find people from your streets, ask your neighbors or something, and go together with somebody. I think, yes, it's a problem. It's a public problem for women specifically. But if you want to, and if you understand that this is important for you, you can find alternatives to do what you love. So the parks are a really important thing for you a really great place for you to go. And these communities where you can run with many people, so you'll be safer there too. And I think during the long time, maybe this will change. But while it's not changed yet, you can find other ways to do what you love, which is running. I can stop running because I can run here. So I go and run there. So let's fix the problem that we have. And that's how I said this here in Brazil and also maybe in other cities too.
How do you handle the safety and security issue?
I think this is the same thing. I used to live in Rio. Rio is a very easy city for you to go out. Everyone is doing sports in Rio. It has to do with the environment. It's near the beach, so you even feel bad if you're not running because you pass through the beach and everyone is running, or you go through the lagoon and everyone is running. So it's easier than Sao Paulo. Sao Paulo, yes, it's a little bit more complicated. The neighborhood that I live is a safe one. You can run, but even in this place, I would not go for a run by myself at night. But it's about running with other people, then it makes it much easier. And the run thing is, it's very easy to run. I mean, you only need a pair of sneakers. It's not that you need to carry a bike to drive a car. So that also helps me a lot when I'm traveling around. It's the only sport that you can actually do any place you go, because you will always find a place, a park or some neighborhood that you can go there and you feel okay and you can go anytime. So the run is a sport that is very flexible and very easy to figure it out or to practice.
Awesome. I would love to continue talking to you. It's so inspiring and also motivating, and all those wonderful stories. But we need to wrap up this 261 Empowerment Talk, and I would like to ask you both for a final quote, final advice you want to send out there to the women to feel more empowered, to get off the couch, or to be more fearless. Flavia, do you want to start first?
Yeah, sure. So again, it's about don't putting limits to yourself. You can do this. And even if you begin with baby steps, you don't need to begin running fast in your first day or going to a path that you will be a CEO in your career, but begin doing small steps. And as you begin feeling you're more empowered, you're stronger, then you can go for more and more and go always raising the bar for yourself. Because I'm a total normal person, Esther, as well. If we can do it, anyone can do it.
Oh, awesome. Thank you.
I love that. I love to hear that. I will never forget. I believe that you should not negotiate who you feel that you are. You feel like you're a runner. You feel like I can do sports. Do this. Don't listen to people who tell you that you can't. Find ways that you can break these barriers. I believe that anybody can break any barriers that they find on their lives. I have found many in my life, social, financial, as gender barriers, and you need to find ways to break this barrier, knowing who you are. So know who you are, what you want to do. Write that in your heart, what you want to do, and chase that as fast, as strong as you can, as fearless as you can. So you want to do a half marathon, you want to do 5 kilometers, you want to walk 1 kilometer. Write that in your heart and you will be able to do that. And I think that's my advice. Do not negotiate with the circumstances or with the person that are around you telling you that you can. Do not talk to them. Do not try to convince them or anything. Find your way to do what you want. And I think that's what I advise this young girl that could do some change.
Oh, wow. Thank you. I'm taking a lot with me from this amazing talk. Thank you so much, and thank you for joining us. See you soon on our next 261 Empowerment Talk. Stay fearless and start or continue running. Thank you.